All right, bienvenue to the podcast where we discuss conspiracies. I bring theory.
And I bring skepticism.
We're not saying these conspiracy theories are true.
We're not saying they're not true.
We're just here to pick at them. I'm your co-host, Tierist Heltrud.
And I'm Aurelius L. Clayton.
This is the Metal Hat.
Holy fucking shit! That is a magnificent tower!
Unfortunately for everyone here, Aurelius is not feeling up to doing this today, so you're stuck with me on part 2 of Flat Earth. I'm just going to go ahead and dive in a little bit to zetetic astronomy, because I know Aurelius really wants to talk about the portals. The reason he wants to talk about the portals is we were in a hot tub on a mountain in Romania when we heard that the Jews used the portals in the salt mines of Romania to get to the other side of flat Earth. And we had never heard anything like this before in our lives. It was fascinating. It was, I don't know, I just never had heard about portals. Of course, I've heard about salt mines, but neither of us had heard about these magic portals. Oh, by the way, we do have mics. They're brand new. So next episode, the sound, I promise, will be better. We are well aware of our shortcomings. There are many, and we are learning and growing. So that's what's happening. Anyway, back to flat Earth and the zetetic astronomy. So we talked a little bit about last time how Rowbotham started the organization of the Flat Earth Society. He was the one who coined the term, and he was in England, Dover, England, to be specific. So he started out, though, as an organizer of overnight community at Manea in the Friends when he formulated his ideas about Earth. After measuring a lack of curvature on the long straight drainage ditches of the Bedford levels in his first Bedford level experiment, he was convinced of the flatness of the Earth and began to lecture on the topic. He took little time to learn about it, running away from a lecture in Blackburn where he could not explain why the hulls of ships disappeared before their masts when sailing out to sea. However, as he persisted in filling halls by charging 6 pence a lecture, his quick-witted and debating skills were honed so much that he could counter every argument with ingenuity, wit, and consummate skill. So a con artist. I don't know. I've met people like this. They're so convinced of their own reality that they just can't step outside of it. It's pretty crazy. Although, I would like to posit, maybe they're happier for it. Oh, reality right now does not seem to be our best friend. The world is a little, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I could be an ostrich. So just stick my head in the sand, do my own little corner of the world and pretend like these folks don't exist. Maybe they are doing it right. Maybe they're happier. Who knows? So there was a challenge. Someone told him, he's like, listen, let's try to bring reality into your brain. We can attempt anyway. And in 1864 in Plymouth, he would not agree to do this test. But then, after much, everyone was like, well, clearly, you're not the great debater that you thought if you can't even do this simple science experiment. And so he appeared at Plymouth Hoe at the appointed time, witnessed by Richard A. Proctor, a writer on astronomy, and proceeded to the beach where a telescope had been set up. His opponents had claimed that only the lantern of the Eddystone Lighthouse, some 14 miles out to sea, would be visible. In fact, only half the lantern was visible because, curvature. Yet, Rowbotham claimed his opponents were wrong and that it proved the Earth was indeed flat, so that many Plymouth folk left the Hoe agreeing that some of the most important conclusions of modern astronomy had been seriously invalidated that day. Oh boy. So, okay. I mean, if you're not formally trained, someone with a very gifted way of using words could definitely sway a person. I could see that happening. Which is why I kind of find it weird that zetetic astronomy is all about like searching for yourself and not believing what someone else tells you. And yet here's this guy telling you the earth is flat. So, I don't know. Maybe he could have preached more on the investigate for yourself side. Because then I think maybe some people would, who knows. We did see the Flat Earth documentary where the folks did the test with the light, and then they could only see it if they rose the camera because of the curvature of the earth, because it wasn't flat. And then we saw the other guys who actually, somebody funded them to go to Antarctica. By the way, if you want to fund me to go to Antarctica, I would love that. It's the last continent on my list that I need to visit. And then after that, I can start visiting all the countries, right? But yeah, that costs a lot of money. So how cool for those guys. They got their opportunity to go to Antarctica, and then they saw that the sun doesn't set in Antarctica during the summer. And so instead of saying, okay, yes, the Earth's a globe, they're coming up with different explanations for it. None of which made any sense. But anyway, so then in 1856, Rowbotham married for a second time and had 2 kids, one of whom died in infancy, which is, for those folks who wanted to live way back when, because it was a quote unquote simpler time. Nah, it was a more deadly time. Your chances of dying were quite high. Actually, I was just talking about this the other day. Y'all, young people should start playing Oregon Trail again. It'll teach you everything you need to know about living in the past. It's mostly just death. So, in 1861, kid died. Okay, we got one more. When he was 46, he married a 15-year-old girl, which she had 15 children with. Only 4 survived, but Jesus Christ. 15-year-old girl. Why are all of these people so convinced of their own amazingness? Marry children. What? Donald Trump? Epstein? What in the fucking hell is going on with these idiots marrying? What? Okay. That's another topic. All right. So of these 15 children, only 4 survived, which is insane. So he was named in numerous cases of wrongful deaths, including death by misadventure for accidentally poisoning one of his own children. How do you accidentally poison one of your own children? Also, death by misadventure sounds fun. Getting poisoned by your dad doesn't sound fucking fun. This is crazy. This man. Ugh, okay. Then he was named responsible for other deaths using his quack cures of phosphorus. Oh, we're just nimbly-pambly giving people phosphorus? Here, kids, have some phosphorus. Jesus Christ. Now, he was also alleged to be using the name Dr. Samuel Burley, living in a beautiful 12-room house, selling the secrets for prolonging human life and curing every disease imaginable. Augustus D. Morgan refers to him as S. Golden. He patented a number of inventions, including the life-preserving cylindrical railway carriage. Doesn't sound like it saved anything. He is not known to have held any medical degrees, and his professions are named at different times: chemist, physician, journalist, soap boiler. Soap boiler. Sounds like a guy who would promote ivermectin or injecting yourself with bleach. Cool, cool, cool. His book, Zetetic Astronomy, The Earth, Not a Globe, appeared in 1865. His lectures continued, and concerned citizens addressed letters to the Astronomer Royal seeking rebuttals for his claims. A correspondent to the Leeds Times observed that one thing he did demonstrate was that scientific dabblers, unused to platform advocacy, are unable to cope with a man, a charlatan if you will, but clever and thoroughly up on his theory, thoroughly alive to be weakness of his opponents. Okay, cool. So he's alive and full of shit. So where we are today, is one of Rowbotham's followers, John Hamden, a Christian polemicist, gained notoriety by engaging in ruckus public debates with leading scientists of the day. So he kind of learned that from Rowbotham. A bet involving a prominent naturalist, Alfred Russel Wallace, in the famous Bedford Level experiment led to several lawsuits for fraud and libel in Hamden's imprisonment. So at least somebody was paying attention. However, in the United States, Rowbotham's ideas were taken up by the Christian Catholic Apostle Church in 1914 and were promoted widely when the church added a radio station in 1923. First step to indoctrination is getting the media involved, I suppose. His work in the United States was continued by William Carpenter, and Carpenter, a printer originally from Greenwich, England, a supporter of Rowbotham, and published the Theoretical Astronomy Examined and Exposed, proving the Earth, not a globe, in 8 parts from 1864 under the name Common Sense. He later immigrated to Baltimore, where he published 100 proofs the Earth is not a globe in 1885. So, after Rowbotham died, Lady Elizabeth Blount continued the Universal Zetetic Society, which Rowbotham had founded. The society published magazines entitled Earth, Not a Globe Review, and remained active well into the early part of the 20th century. Cool. After World War I, the movement underwent a slow decline, but it was revived in 1956 as the Flat Earth Society. And that is where all of this is still today. People are still claiming flat Earth. But here's the thing about people today, I hope. They did a bunch, when they were in Antarctica, they had cameras everywhere, videoing cameras, so that you couldn't say that it was fake, that it wasn't green screen, that it was all this kind of stuff. There's still people saying that it's fake as hell, but there will always be that. But I would, for those people who say it's all fake, just go. I don't know. Go to South America. Go to Chile. Go to Tierra del Fuego. Go to the very tip during summertime. You don't even have to go to Antarctica. Just go to the tip during summertime. If you're in the northern hemisphere, just go as far north as you can. And tell me why the sun doesn't set if it's not a globe in the summer. Do both. For your summertime in the northern hemisphere, go all the way north as far as you can go. Alaska, Norway, Sweden, any of those Arctic Circle places. And then go all the way south, like in the same month. It's possible. We have airplanes. And let me know how that works. Just throwing that out there. themetalhat0@gmail.com. I would really love to know why that's happening if we're not on a globe. Second question. Are the planets that we see in the sky globes, or are those flat disks too? And if they're flat disks, why are they pointing to us so that we always see the full circle of the sun? I'm just real curious about that. And then also during a lunar eclipse or an Earth, what do they call it when the Earth goes in between it's a lunar eclipse. The sun and the moon, why is that a circle? It's all very confusing to me. Like, I am fully ready to understand why people think this, but I need them to explain to me these other things because they don't make sense. You would think you could go outside and see where the edge of the Earth is just by the way things work. Like when you go in a room, you can tell what the corners are. But that's just me. I wish they could explain it. This episode's a little short, like I said, because Aurelius isn't here. He's busy making music with the cat. But next time, hopefully we'll get into the Romanian salt mines. One quick thing. Has anybody been watching the Iranian disc Lego videos? The Metal Hat made an appearance in them. See if you can find it. I think it's the Erica Kirk one, actually. And they've got a bunch of Lego dudes in metal hats. And these diss tracks crack me up. I don't know if it's, I don't know. It's funny, but at the same time, it's not funny. The state of the world it depresses me a great deal. So anyway, I just thought if you want to see the metal hat making an appearance in an Iranian Lego movie diss track, it's the Erica Kirk one where they talk about conspiracies of her having him killed. Who knows if that actually happens, but we could certainly cover that later and dig into that one. Anyway, everybody, please stay safe, stay sane, stay curious, because the truth is out there.